I was looking for something to update for the channel, and I think this blend shape thing is something that people have an issue with sometimes. And that's creating combo shapes, but also breaking up their symmetrical shapes and some other tricks you can do with blend shapes. So I just thought I'd show three quick things with blend shapes, and maybe it'll be helpful for somebody. Let me put these into the standard service, so they're not okay. Cool. So I basically have a head here. I've bound it to a skeleton just so I have that going on. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. And what I want to do is, first thing I want to do is create a, well, let's hide these guys. I'm going to create a post-based deformation for when he puts his neck down. So a couple things happen when you put your neck down. Like this fatty tissue down here has to go somewhere. It's not just going to collapse on itself. One of the biggest things in rigging that shows good or bad rigging and posing is the volume. So if you're losing volume when you move your arms or legs or whatever, or your head or your neck in this case, that's an issue that you should resolve and make it look a little bit better. So I'm just going to go side view here, and I'm going to lower his neck down. And this isn't going to be the best sculpt in the world. I'm just doing this with the default head that comes with Maya, just so you get an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to do this a couple different ways. The one way you can do this is kick this out into another program, let's say like ZBrush or Mudbox or something like that. Another is you can do it right in Maya. I am going to do this as if we are sculpting this outside of Maya, but I'll sculpt it in Maya just so we do that. Just so that you get a simple tool that's kind of helpful. So I'm going to duplicate this and hide my other stuff here. So I have my little head. And delete the shape node, just by default. I'm going to go to the sculpt, and I'm just going to go in here, and I want to make sure that I have symmetry turned on. It doesn't actually, where is that? I always forget how to get there. I'm just going to use W. There we go. We're in symmetry. Great. And I'm going to use the relax and the smooth first. So I'm just going to go here and just holding shift. I'm just going to bring this out a little bit. I want to make sure I don't accidentally move anything up there. See how I move some things up there? Just be careful of that. You can always paint that out later or erase it. But for now, I just want to go in here and just relax this a little bit. And now I'm just going to go and use the fill tool. And if you've already know how to do this sort of stuff, you don't need, well, you probably don't even need to watch this channel, but you don't need it. You can skip ahead to the next section. So I'm going to go in here and just kind of fill that in a little bit. There we go. He puts his neck down. That way you're not losing volume here. And, yeah, you do crease some things in, but often like in this area in here, you'll get a little bit of fat or something like that that kind of fills in. So that's what I'm just going for this. So I'm going to call this neck, and we use N25 because I rolled the joint down -25 and sculpt. And the reason we use sculpt is because I don't want to use this as my target as it is. I want to go into and run an inverter on this so that it actually creates a new target for me that I can use as a blend shape. So I'm going to turn symmetry off. Bring back my joints here. There we go. Bring back my original head. Okay, so you can see the difference between the two. If I hide, say, this one, and I just go toggle between the two, you can see the differences, right? I'm just hitting H to do that. So I'm going to turn this one back on again, and what I'm going to use is called inverter. So if I go in here, shapes inverter. So I'm going to grab here. I'll open up a new Python so you can see what it looks like, and that's not how it should look. So let me fix this. That was a Mel version of it. Just so you know, it's deformed and then corrected. Deformed being the one that has the skin cluster on it. Corrected to me is what I call a sculpt. So I'm just going to import my commands as commands, and then I'm going to go commands.in, and I'm going to hit invert shape. There we go. Whoops. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to use cell 1. Explain this in a second. And cell 0. Okay. And I just want to capture my selection. So I'm going to do cell equals commands.ls sl equals true. So that just means get my selection and put it into an array. That array is going to have two objects in it. It's going to the first object is going to be what I'm going to call my sculpt, or in this case, that's the one that's the corrected. See, one corrected, and the second one is going to be my base head. So because I have that, if I look at the history here of the base head base, you can see I have a skin cluster on there. And that's what I make sure I have on there. That's what this tool or this command is going to work on to calculate what these targets should look like. So I'm going to select the sculpt, select the head base, and just highlight this and run it. It's going to pop out a new shape for me. And I'll just move to the side here. And let's put a existing standard surface on it. I don't know if it always breaks. If it turns green like that, it just basically means you lost your shader. All right, so I'm going to rename this one Target. I always like to name, and I've got a one on there because I already have some that exist already. I generally would get rid of that number on there, but I don't. For this demo, I'm not going to worry about it. And just so we have it, I'm going to unlock this and move it over so you can see the difference between the two. So this is obviously not what the end result is going to look like, but this plus this should equal this. So let's give that a shot. I'm going to grab this head, select the base head, my new target I created, and I'm going to deform, blend shape, and I'm going to let it use automatic, which means it's going to try and figure out the best place to put that. Most likely, it's going to put it at the head of chain, so before the skin cluster. I'm going to call it head blend shape. I usually name my blend shapes based on the geometry. Say create, and if I go in here, you see it's the second. It did indeed put it at head of chain, and if I put this to 1, you see what happens? It looks like it matches our sculpt over here. Incidentally, you can delete this and it'll still work. Now, the other thing we want to do is just make sure we have a set-driven key on there. So what I'm going to do is grab that joint, put it as the driver, grab the blend shape, drop that in as the driven, and I'm going to use that neck N25 and the rotate. Let's take a look. Y, and key it, and then I'm going to take this and put it to 0, and key it. Whoops, first I'm going to make this 0 as well. Bing, key it, cool. Now I'm going to take this, and as you see, as it comes down, once I go past 25, it's going to lose it, but see how I try to maintain volume a little bit there. And then one of the last things I usually do is I will go into my graph editor, and I almost always make my curves kind of look like that. It's kind of an ease through. It just always seems to give it a little bit more natural look than before. Okay, so that's adding a post-based deformation on a pre-sculpted piece of geometry. You can just put something into a position. That's actually, let's go the other way. Cool. Let's say I wanted to fix this with some fatty tissue there. Since I already have a blend shape created, I can open up the blend shape or the post shape editor, as they call it. And what's a little weird about this is you don't select anything, and you just select your blend shape node in this menu and hit add target. And now I can go in there and actually just sculpt on it. See how it says edit? So if I sculpt on this directly, I'm going to go back to the, just sculpt, I guess. Kind of pull this out. I'm going to hit smooth for a second, which is always be careful with smooth because it can kill a lot of your detail really fast. I'm going to go to bulge. That's always a fun one. Going to bulge this out. Oh, a little too much. Just a little bit. Smooth it back down again. There we go. So we're kind of keeping our volumes just a little bit. Not too crazy. I have no idea what I put the rotation. Oof. I probably should have done a single rotation. So let me see. That should have been a Z rotation. So let's get rid of these two. And let's do like -35. I always just like to do a number that I can remember. Or it's easy to remember. And I'll say neck. What was that? Z. And let's see. Neck. Okay, let's do this. It's the left side, left, neck, Z25 or 35, I think I said. Target. grab the joint, -35. Yep, cool. Let's just change that Z and 25. And I guess I could have made this one be Y, so NY or Y and 25, Z and 25. So let's just capitalize the Z just so we can make it more visible. Cool. So that's actually going to work the same way. And if I want to mirror that to the other side, this is not what I meant to do, but I'm going to show you anyway. Let's add again that blend shape into as the driven. And this time we're going to use the Z value, rotate Z. It's going to go into L neck Z and 35. We're going to key it, go back to the joint, and put it back to 0. And you can see how now it kind of looks like that weird target that was created by using the invert shape. We'll just go back to our blend shape and make that 0. Key that. So now you can see when I roll the head over, I'm kind of preserving that volume a little bit. Right? Oops. Put that back to 0. And if I wanted to have one on the other side, what I can do is just right click on the target and say duplicate target. Of course, if I have that turned on, it's going to be on the wrong side and it's going to be on. So I'm just going to do a flip target. So now it's on the other side. You can see how that looks like. And I'm going to rename it. So I'll just double click in there and I'm going to change this to R neck Z 35 because we're going to use straight up 35 and we create the same thing. Now there's a couple different ways I can do this. I can go back into the set driven key window and just create that for myself, or I can actually just go into the node editor, which I'm going to show you because not everybody is all that familiar with doing it this way. I'm going to graph the outputs on that. So here's those. Let's get rid of all this. Yeah, get rid of all that. Cool. So there's our blend shape. And these are the animation curves. I'll put up the graph editor so you can see what that looks like. Cool. So this is the one for the neck forward, and see how it says neck N25. And this is the one that we haven't adjusted yet, but I'm going to adjust it right now. And that's the one that's going into the side neck. So I can actually hide this one just to make it easier for ourselves. And here's our joint chain, so we can see, or yeah, here's our joint. So you see rotate Z goes into this animation curve, and that goes into the blend shape node here, right? So what I want to do is duplicate this and do it into the Z35. So I'm going to take that and duplicate it. Cool. Let's open it up. Actually, I have to hit, whoops, let's see here. 1, 2, 3. No, okay. So I have to do show all to attributes. And I have input here. If I hit a 2 on this, you see it shows by default. It should show it by default. I don't know why it doesn't. You can go in here and edit your custom list. So let's just do that. Input. Okay, so now on 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, on 4, it'll show us that. I don't know why. I think it should just be on 3. Anyway, I'm going to go rotate Z into the input, and I'm going to output into that R neck, right? But I do need to reverse it because right now it's going to be the wrong value. It's only going to be, I'm going to get a double blend shape when I go to the side here. This one's going to pop out as well. If I click the blend shape, you see they both are at 1. I want the opposite of that, which is when I go this way is when I want that blend shape to be turning on, which is positive 35. So if I go to my neck here, and let's see where that's negative 35, and that's 0. So I'm going to take this, and let's see what happens if I do a times equals -1. Got to put it to the other side because it's now positive, but I also want to fix my, but there's a way to mirror that. I can't think of it at the moment. I'm going to take this, and now when I roll that over, oops, come here, on this side, and you can see once I go past that position, it starts to suck in again. So often I'll go more than my neck will ever actually go. Whoops. Sorry. I have a hotkey to 0 channels, and for joints, I only use reset. You don't need to know that. All right. So you can see how that engages, and that one engages, and then our front one engages. Cool. Reset channels. There we go. All right, let me pause for a second and regroup for the next part. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about deals with, turn the edit off. There we go. Deals with blend shapes, and sometimes you'll get a blend shape target that is a full face, right? So it's both it's symmetrical, so like left eyebrow up, right eyebrow up at the same time. So to mirror that, I built angry. There's my angry. There we go. Angry and surprised. Now you just like normally you're not going to do this, but if you're just doing something really quick, it works. But the same thing works for everything as far as blend shapes work. So you're not going to use. I wouldn't use surprised and angry. I would use right eyebrow up, left eyebrow down, that sort of thing. Anyway, let's just say that these are our blend shapes. I'm going to go ahead and add those in. I'm going to go back up to our pose editor here, shapes editor. Sorry, add target. Okay, it didn't do it. I'm gonna. I have my own tools to do this, so I don't usually use this tool. I'm gonna say add selection as target. Okay, so I should get 2. Good. That's what I wanted. Come here. Cool. So surprise. Yay. Angry. Yay. Okay. So, but what I want to do is split those into left and right. And again, you can delete these once these are created as blend shapes. I usually don't until I publish them. I put them in a set and then say delete that on publish. But you can delete them once they're in here in this shape editor. The problem with that is though, if you do blow away the blend shape, you're going to lose that data. So I tend to leave them around until I'm ready to completely destroy them in a published file where I import references and whatever else I need to do in my rigging file. All right. Anyway, so what I want to do is split this into left and right for these guys. So the easiest way to do that is to just, whoa, what did I just do? There we go. Come on. Show your vertices, select straight down the center. Let's grow it by 1. So now we have, come here. So now we have exactly half and half. And we can right click and say paint, blend shape, blend base weights. And the reason I'm going to do base weights is because I wanted, and make sure when it opens up this window, see how it was in neck N25? It should have been in head blend shape. I don't know why it popped over. So, but what I'm going to do is zero this out and flood that. So now I have 100% on one side and 0% on the other side. So now when I go ahead and do my surprise, it's only on one side. When I do my angry face, it's only on one side. And you notice it's a little bit chunky. Like you probably want to go in there and sculpt that a little bit better. One thing I can do is go in here and I usually do it by selecting down that middle and growing it by like 1 or 2. Go back to my paint blend shape tool, say smooth, and like I hit that 3 times. So let's see what that gives us. It gives us something a little bit nicer. Yeah, slightly. It's not great. But you see, you start to get a little bit of a cross across there. So actually, let's see if I can redo that. If I go back here, hit that, we can go 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's 4 times on the smooth. Actually, the surprise is looking better, right? And the angry could probably still use some work, right? We could always sculpt on that a little bit more. And actually, maybe I'll just do that for this demo. I'm not sure if this is going to work. So this could be fun. All right, so what I am going to do is I do want to kick these out. Now, right now, if I do a mirror on these, it's not going to work because the reason I have them the way they are is because I've cut off the weights on the entire blend shape. So actually what I do is I want to duplicate these, but not through the menu. I just want to duplicate them by hand. So I'm going to Control D that, unlock it, so I have it. I'm going to move it over here for a second. And then I'm going to do, oh wait, that's angry. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to do surprise. I'm going to duplicate it, unlock it, move it over. Okay, but I'm going to name these. So that's left angry target and left surprise target. Okay. And now I'm going to go back in on that paint weights again, and I'm just going to go back and replace it back to 100. Now, sometimes you might want to keep a head around that's half and half. I've done that before, so I can always just quickly kick out ones that go side to side. So now if I go back to my surprise or my angry shape, bloop, you see I have a whole 100% again. So what I'm going to do is take these guys. Again, I'm going to get rid of those ridge nodes, and let's add them in as targets. Cool. So now we have a left surprise and a right surprise, which is a little goofy. Okay, there we go. So there's left surprise and left angry. I can now take these and duplicate them. And oops, make sure you grab the copies and flip them. And I'm also going to go in here and make sure the flipped ones get renamed. And make sure you type correctly, otherwise it'll possibly get rid of it. Cool. So let's zero this out. And so if I select both left and right surprise, I should get something that looks like left and right surprise. Cool. If I grab left and right angry, I get the angry, right? Not bad. Cool. So what I wanted to do was let's look at our angry target and put these both on at the same time. And you know what? They do look almost identical. Shoot. Okay. So what I wanted to show, actually, maybe they don't. They're pretty spot on. Okay, so let's take our original angry, and actually I'm going to remove it here from here. Did I just delete it? Oh, there it is. Delete. Boom. Okay, and I'm going to sculpt on this for a second, and let's just. I wish I knew why it turned green. I don't know why it does that. Got no shapes, no one's underneath. It's really annoying. Thought that was gone. All right, so I'm going to go in here and use a sculpt, and let's just really add what would be like a combination shape here of the two together. So I'm going to go in here and just kind of bulge this up a little bit more, and bulge this up a little bit. Well, is that what you do when you get? Yeah, you can scrunch. You know, just kind of do this a little bit, bring that down a little bit, maybe some furrow. Grab that and kind of bring it down a little bit. Oh, that's weird looking. All right. I'm just going to exaggerate it. Like one of those, I can have a hard time doing that. Okay. Let's see, that's not quite the same as this is, right? So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to create a combination shape, and I wanted to show how to make a combination shape out of pre-created targets that you want to use. So say that we had brought this into those two models into ZBrush, went there and modeled up like the brow furrowing in the middle, so that when the two come together, they create a really nice sort of bulge here, much better than what I've just done. Obviously, the two together aren't giving me that shape, right? Yeah, they look terrible. Oh, you know what? I should have fixed that. Sorry. I meant to fix this so they didn't look the same. Actually, why don't we just do that? Sure. Let's get rid of this one. Let's do that instead. Let's get rid of this. Boop. And let's edit this. And what I'm going to do is kind of smooth this out a little bit. Let's grab that down a little bit. Smooth that out a little bit. And let's sculpt this just a hair. We use default materials so it doesn't look so crazy. Okay, clearly not correct, but what I like about this is that the two together will not look like this. So let's again duplicate this, mirror this, rename it. Awesome. It looks terrible in the middle. That's what I was looking for. All right, so the two together create a really unwanted shape in the middle. And this, what I want is to look more like this, which, yes, I know is not great, but for these purposes is going to work. All right, so angry left, angry right. Let's say those were like perfect, exactly what we wanted. Obviously, they're not. And then we bring them together and we get angry, squinchy, awful in the middle. Right, so the way I want to do is add a combination shape. Now, I can't just add this in because it's just going to add everything all together. So I have to work around that. So one of the ways I can do that is by negating the left and right angry when I add the combo shape. So So I'm going to take this head here, and again, going to add it, selection as target. And we're just going to call it combo, whatever, I don't care. And I'm going to turn that on, and you can see that, yeah, they look like each other, but I want to extract the differences. So if I put this to, this is going to be terrible this way, right? But if I do a -1 and a -1, I get something sort of funky. And it's kind of like what we were doing before with that invert shapes, right? So let's duplicate this, unlock it, move it over here. I'm going to call it angry combo, the lack of a better word. And I'm going to go in here and zero this. And I'm going to zero this. And I'm going to just delete our combo altogether. Okay, so now what I want to do is add our angry combo. Add selection as target. Cool. We can do angry target, angry combo. So it looks like that broken nose sort of thing we had going on. But if I go in here and take these two guys and put them to 1, look what we've got. We've got, it looks exactly like our end result that we wanted from before, which is what I wanted. So this plus left and right of this equal, sorry, this plus the left and right of this equal this. Great, cool. But now I just want to make it a combo. So what I can do is select these two guys here, and then lastly select my combo and say right click and say set as combination target. And so the way that that works is now they're only going to, what happened? Oh, sorry. It went too far. Okay. Actually, if I close this and reopen it, sometimes that'll reset my pose window for me. Yeah, good. It reset them. All right. So this is our main target right here. And what we do is if I drive left angry, I get only left angry. If I drive right angry, I only get right angry. And if I drive them together, you see that that combo shape comes into play. And it matches our wonky one over here. Pretty cool, right? So if I can actually go in and slowly have that come on, right? Which is a nice thing about the combo shapes. Now again, like before, you could actually go in here and edit this directly. So let's say we wanted to edit our combo shape right now. I've got all those on. I can go in here and, you know what, smooth this out a little bit. And whatever else is we might want to like, you know, maybe pinch there. Whoops, I totally missed it. Whatever. Something like that, right? Pretty cool, right? Right. Cool. So that's creating a combo shape from pre-modeled targets. So you could go in and make a left and a right in ZBrush. They may not even be symmetrical. I mean, you know, in real life they're not. And then create a combo shape of the two of them, bring all those in there, and that combo shape would kind of look like this with all three. And then you can extract out just what you want for that combo shape. So the last thing I want to do is take these shapes that we created and then put them onto another shape. Now I know it's rare that you'll have the same exact topology on another character, but let's say we created a bunch of characters that all have the same topology, but they have different features and things like that, which is what I have here. Otherwise, I would probably create something using a wrap, which I think I showed before. If not, somebody hit me up and let me know that I need to add that. So let's take all these guys that we don't need anymore, get them out of here. And this is our new shape that we want to have as our new character, right? So here we have our generic base head. Here we have our devil head. And what I want to do is take all these guys and put them onto here. Now there's a couple ways I can do it. One, and you know, if I'm fine with this base head and I want to keep this base head, I can just go in here and add this as a selection as a target, and that should work, right? So if I go in here, angry, yep, he looks angry. Even the combo shape looks good. Surprise, you know, looks like it's working. Left surprise, right surprise, cool. And then I can go in and just kick all those guys out. We can't always do that. I can't remember why I was doing this, but just for demonstrations, I'm gonna demo this real quick. So let's go back in here. Make sure I went back far enough. Good, no devil head. And what I'm going to do, and let's say there's no blend shape on this character at all. And what I'm going to do, and let me get my, I'll just do surprise and angry from before, right? And here's our head, and then we have a duplicate. Hey, these guys can go get lost. Okay, so what I'm going to do is here's my head base. That is the one that has all the shapes and stuff like that I like. And then here's the one that's just a generic version of that head. And then here is our new one. So our new head with the same topology. So, and I was doing this, I ran into when I was working on a job where we were patch modeling everything. So in the end, everything had the same exact topology. So what I'm gonna do is grab the two targets I want plus a basic, nothing going on head, default head, and then select our new head, and I'm going to create a blend shape out of that. In this case, I am not going to rename it. I'm just going to keep moving forward. And so if we put surprise on, what happens is we just go to the, it's a full blend shape. It goes back to this shape with surprise because that's what we have, right? But what we can do is actually go into our basic head here and put in -1, and we get just surprise on our devil head. So let me duplicate that, unlock it, and set it to the side. And watch what happens when I turn surprise off. We get something kind of weird. It's like a super devil, like way out. So if I go to 0, okay, that's what it should normally look like. So I'm going to do it again for angry. Again, angry goes back to default. Put default back to -1. Now we end up with just angry for devil. I'm going to duplicate that and move it over. And now I'm just going to go ahead and blow away this blend shape. So we should be back to our normal head here. Grab these two guys, grab the base, and create a new blend shape. So this is our new devil head. I forgot to name them. But now I have just an angry, and I have just a surprise. That's on my devil head here. So it doesn't come up often, but every once in a while you can use that trick to transfer blend shapes from one character to another. Again, they have to have the same topology, but it's a way that you can negate out the changes from this deformer head. So what we used to do is we had a very generic head with tons of blend shapes on it that had already been sculpted out really nicely, and we wanted to get like 90% there on the new head. We would just go in and pipe the old head in as a negative and then put it onto the new head, and we could kick out all those blend shapes as new blend shapes as a good starting point to go and create, our new blend shapes down the road. I hope that made sense. I know it was a little bit weird, but I think that's everything I wanted to get through. And if you have any questions or have any other ideas, I'm happy to hear them. And I hope this has been helpful.